Welcome to the story of J.R. Hendrick, Texan Consort. Get ready and sit back and enjoy the adventure. This episode is called The Dance. October 31st, 1993. J.R. wakes up with abdominal cramps. He reached for some Pepto to calm down his stomach. By 6:55 a.m., J.R. dresses in his church suit with Adam Plummer, his valet, helping him with his clothes. 8:25 p.m. Karen picks up J.R. from the condo for church. I have a bone to pick with you and your friend, Ken, for cursing out Brad, Karen said. J.R. cut her off. Karen, I have been hearing this crap for a month and a half now, and I don't want to hear it anymore. Okay, just relax. I'm just telling you that Brad is going to be angry right now. Tell you what, when we head back from church, we can talk about something else. Please. And drop me off at my dorm because my parents are on their way to Midland. They head to the First Methodist Church where everything was going well. On the way back, they head to listen to The Lord of the Dance, a hymn at the time. We now go to November 1st. Make sure it's November 1st. Yes, it is. Okay. 3:20 a.m. J.R. wakes up in his room. He thinks about the night before. Once again, last night, he had told Ken about the Bible study that he was going to be attending with Karen and Brad, and Ken got very angry. This morning, he would have swimming practice alone, and then breakfast at Crockett House with Andy Shelford. And between Spanish and statistics, he was going to have lunch at Crockett House again with Antonio Gomez after statistics class. His plan was to be absconded in the library to study. Tonight at the Spirit Club, he was having dinner with one of the club's star students, members, Arland Prophet. 5 a.m. J.R.'s having swimming practice alone. He's feeling down because of the growing feud between Ken and Brad. He tells himself that he's done thinking about it. But when he wakes up this morning, he can't stop thinking about it. But by 6:30 a.m., he decides to meet Andy Salford at Cinnabon for breakfast. You know, J.R., that I graduate within 6 months. And then my dad wants me to take graduate fellowship for a year at Patrick Henry College and return to get my master's degree at Tech. Andy said, well, I got a call from Dad last night. He says he wants an answer by Wednesday or Thursday as to whether or not I'm going to be flying to Washington this summer to be a speechwriter, J.R. said. Rumor has it your cousin Joe doesn't want to do it. I'm just ready to get out of West Texas for the summer. I'm away from the ranch. Meanwhile, Jim arrives at the rig in Andrews. But he finds out that the rig is in a slight state of disrepair. Lead tongs, cat line, and pipes were busted. He's angry and disgusted. Jim throws his clipboard on the ground and curses the blue streak. Joe, you told me you'd have the main parts of the rig up first, Jim said, in shock. Shut the rig down right now. You know I got a new crew from Abilene to take care of this, because I got a lot of crap going on right now. Get your asses to work. 8 a.m. In government class, Dr. Jack Fitzmiller is giving a lecture on American ideology. At 10 a.m. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Elizabeth is watching The Price is Right. Betsy is outside talking to the foreman about taking some Angus cattle and bulls to get them to the butcher. Elizabeth gets we'll just skip that part. 11 a.m. Back in his dorm room, JR is listening to Andrew House.
Hey, Mama.
You think of all the Bush boys in government who stayed behind to protect Clinton.
You got it?
Where are they now?
Okay.
Resigned. And why?
Never knew that.
Because the president will not let them have a say in NAFTA. I just spoke to one of them today who knew me back in 1991 when I lived in Washington. I will live in Washington again next year, just so you know. 1 p.m. Jared is in the basement of the library in statistics. Stephanie Rogers.
What's she doing now?
Is teaching the statistics class how to access secondary data. 1:50 p.m. Jared walks outside the library when his friend
But I haven't doing anything
from
else.
the Spirit Club, Tom Newcastle, stopped him.
Well, I mean, why not be having him do while he's there.
Okay. 5:30 p.m. JR, Kevin McDonald, and Andrew Shelford are eating let's see. What went wrong here? Here we go. Or eating at Mr. Gaddy's Pizza for dinner. They are celebrating Andy filing his application today for a graduate fellowship at George Mason University. Filing an application at Samuel Adams University in Pecorino, Virginia, where he would study for a year before entering graduate school in communication studies at Texas Tech University. 9 p.m. JR is back in his room at his desk, listening to a tape of the Blake Carter show. Can you believe the White House being dismissive about a Hendrick appointment, and yet the details of Clinton's business dealings have been in the wings. Once you know about this, Hendrick is so far being appointed to the Texas Railroad Commission. November 2nd passed quietly. November 3rd. Okay. On that morning, JR is having swimming practice with Brent Clark. Man, I'm sorry, Coach cut you out of the first couple of weeks, but the team doctor had some concerns, Brent said. He has some good reasons. The burn was bad yesterday. Okay. You know, I really think you're in for a treat by having Dr. Andy Harmon as your advisor. He remains a little bit more towards the mass communications side, but you'll get a good course lined up in public affairs. 6:20 a.m. At the Spirit Club, JR is having cinnamon rolls for breakfast with Brent Clark and C.B. Coleman. Bishop Aaron Culver is talking